session is very powerful. It's very deep. Today's session is very deep. I'm also actually contemplating doing a series on this topic, because I don't think it's something we can cover just once and leave it alone. So I think we're going to have to host several series on this because it's too important. So when it comes to eliminating emotional money and success blocks, already we've been talking about emotions, feelings, the human design classes, human design courses. We've covered a lot about emotions. So if you're a member in this school, emotions should be something you already feel very comfortable with. And what I want to take the next level is also for people to understand how it influences wealth creation as well. So we're going deeper into, wealth creation, money, right? What you're attracting, what you're producing, success, life reality, right? So we've laid this strong foundation. We've built the pillars. We're putting the roof on now, okay? So emotions, within the context of today, think of emotions. Emotions contain information and energy that has been processed, okay? And it's now in the physical world, okay? Remember, we talk about inner realities, external realities. Once what is going on inside you, okay, once it is made public, when your inside is now outside you, okay, emotion is external, okay? Emotions is now what your body is wearing, is the suit, invisible suit of your body, okay? What starts inside, thoughts, belief system that nobody sees, right? When you are thinking, when you're processing, when all of that is done, what is passed to your body, to your frame, to your physical life, your physical experiences, it shows up as emotions, energy in motion. And emotions contain information and energy. And not just any information, not just raw data. Now, your mind has a lot of raw data. When you read books, when you take classes, like your mind ingests. So you take in information, you process information, you output. So the output, okay, there's the input when the mind is taking in information. There's the processing when it mixes it with who you are, what you want, what your desires, hopes, dreams, and aspirations are. That's the creative engine. When that processing is done, the output, emotions, the instructions on what your body should do and how it should do it and when it should do it, in what form it should do it, it comes out as emotions into the body. Okay? And so, if your emotions don't contain, let me put it out because I want to tackle two sides. Check in what information and instructions is your body carrying around money and success. So that's the first thing. Okay? What do you know about success? What have you thought about money? Because it has encoded you with specific information that can move you forward positively or can hurt you negatively. Okay, so that's the first thing. Is that what information are you carrying around? Okay, physically. Now it starts internally, but now I'm talking about physical, your physical body. What do you know about money? How do you think about success? What instructions do you carry? How do you interact with money? What is money to you? What do you know about money? How do you see it? How do you perceive it? What do you use it for? How do you acquire it? What are your thoughts about it? Because that all that information, instruction is individual to each person. How you handle money, how you handle success, what you think success is, what it looks like for you, the vision you have for your life, how much money you think you can have, what you believe about money, on and on and on. You see, that programming is unique to each person because some people can handle so much more money, some people cannot. Why? What information, instruction Okay, what emotional capacity do you have for money, for success? Because ultimately that's what you are living out. That's what you are, that's the body is acting out the information you've given it, the instructions you've given it. And so to the level of the information and instruction you've sent to your body, you've trained your body on, that is it. That's all it's got. So the first note, something I want you to take note on, is that you will always produce what is inside you. Okay? Productivity. Think about how God designed the fruits and the seed. The fruit holds the seed, and when you plant it, it can only produce the life within, encoded within. The information, the DNA, the design of that fruit, the apple fruit, when planted, will yield apple tree. Mango fruit, mango tree. So one of the beautiful things, though, about how God created us, this is the most beautiful thing, is that God actually gives us the power of the will and decisions. We can actually decide what we want to manifest, what we want to produce. That's why we humans are so different from every other creation of God. Why we are so different is that while everything else has been programmed and they cannot change their programming, the sun cannot change its mind, the moon cannot change its mind, the earth cannot change and say, oh, I don't want to rotate 24. No. God has set most things, right? All things except human. God has set it in place that it cannot change. Now, when we look into the animal kingdom, there's mutation, there's evolution, all those things. That's still within the construct, right? But they cannot choose who they become. Humans, however, we are loaded with power, with possibilities, with potentiality, and we are given the tools and the human will to do whatever we want with what we've been given. And where this ends up for Christians is that is why we will give account before God. So the whole point is that you have freedom to do, to think, to create. God has endowed you, giving you different things to manifest, mind, body, soul, like is endowed man. That's why everyone will say, Bible say, who is man that you are mindful of him? Because only us is who God has given this kind of freedom to use God's power, God's access, God's resources to manifest a reality, free will. And then at the end, you will stand and give account and say, okay, this is the report card. Right? So what this means is part of what God has done is you can plant within yourself what you want to produce. Now, part of what's happened is that the history of everybody, we cannot overlook how people got here, how you got here, because something has already been planted. Thoughts have been planted. Promises have been planted. Desires have been planted. Dreams have been planted. Okay? And you're already producing to the capacity and level of those things inside you already. People who don't know, you're already manifesting. You're already, whether you know it or not, you are already manifesting, producing what's inside you. Right? Whether you can sleep, right? Whether through autopilot, whether by choice, whether by not, right? You are practicing this every single day. When you sleep at night, when you wake up in the morning, you're going to create a reality. The past will be copied into today. Today will be copied into tomorrow. That stuff happens anyway. The journey now, the opportunity people have right now is to be more intentional. Okay? To take a look and be more intentional and to assess, oh, what am I creating? Why am I creating it this way? Is this really now what I want? Maybe this was what I want 20 years ago. Maybe these were my dreams 20, 30 years ago. But if I'm to pick again, if I believe I can produce more, do I want to produce more? Because now you have to put in more in yourself if you want to produce more. So, for example, years ago, maybe as a teenager, you planted an idea in yourself that you wanted to go to school. You planted the fact that you wanted to produce a degree. You decided that you were going to invest 4, 5, 6, 7 years to pursue getting a degree, and you did that. But if you didn't plant it in yourself, if you didn't decide, if you didn't make the decision, if you didn't invest in, if you didn't take the time out, if you didn't take those 5 years out to pursue that degree, you don't manifest it, you don't produce it. And so that same principle still persists, is that in this moment, at this moment, if you don't plant a new idea that is bigger than the old will still persist. The old of, oh, I want to get a job, and I want this type of salary, and I want to work for this company, you've already manifested that. The same principle applies. You got the job, you got the pay that you dreamt of, you've lived that life. If you don't change that programming, they persist. They continue to exist unless you change it. So part of the block could be past programming, right? You set a barrier in the past that you cannot go beyond until you set something beyond it. So you can actually be the one stopping yourself for greater success. Is that the old programming is still there of, oh, employee. That's why in the mindset of an entrepreneur, I talk about the new mindset, those who want to go from corporate to entrepreneurship, because the mindset of employee does not work for entrepreneurship. It doesn't work. Okay, so first thing, you produce what is inside you. So what is inside you when it comes to money, when it comes to success? Your thoughts about it, your beliefs about it, your words, your actions, your behaviors. Pastor Mrs. Greetings, right? About success, about money, you produce what is inside you. The thoughts inside you, your beliefs inside you, your words, your actions, your behaviors. That's all you produce, just like a seed. Is that if a mango tree, mango fruit is planted, it will bring forth mango tree. It's the same thing that as humans, whatever thoughts we carry, whatever beliefs we carry about anything, any person, anything, that's what, to that level, we produce. And so if the past stories that people are carrying around money and success is, oh, let me go to this, right? Because emotions contain the information. Excuse me. Let me take a sip of water. Because emotions contain information and energy, instructions on what your body should do, what you've given your body the permission to, how you've given it permission to show up to the world, what you've given it permission to do, and your body will not do more than you have instructed it to do. And this is what governs behaviors and action. We behave, right, the way we've been told to behave. We do the things we've received the instructions to do. We perform at the levels, right, that we've been told to perform. And so if the body is not retrained to behave differently, to think differently, to act differently towards success, towards money, the body will not do what you've not told it to do. The body does not produce a reality it hasn't been instructed on, it hasn't been taught or trained to perform. Right? So things that show up emotionally, right? Our attitude, our behavior in the physical world towards these concepts, they are driven by thoughts, belief system that we hold inside us. And so this is why for children, it's very encouraged to expose children, right? To expose children to possibilities. Because, for example, if you don't train a child how to play piano, please don't expect the adult to know how to play piano. Right? If you don't teach a child how to play basketball and then the child is 30 and you're like, why don't you know how to play basketball? Like, I don't even know. I don't know these sports. I've not been exposed to it. I don't know the rules. My body has not been trained on how to play basketball. So money and success is the same thing. People think they can stumble on this thing. No, it's all training, because every child is born innocent, and the thoughts and the programming, because like I shared, Humans are the only one God gives the power to program themselves. Everything else is programmed. The sun, moon, and stars. They don't ask God, do I change my color? No. But as humans, the way God wired us, the way he designed us, he gave us a heart, a mind, and a body. And he also gave us the ability to choose what we want to use these things to create. And he gave us this himself, his power, the breath of life. And so every human, okay, has access to everything they need to produce whatever they want to produce. That's the divine nature. That's how God actually designed us. Is that he makes himself available, he makes his power available to us. But the reality is that you will have to draw on that power. You will ask. That's why it says, ask and you shall receive. It's like, let's say, I want to use this analogy. It's like, let's say your father owns the bank in your city. The bank is there. That's the power bank. Right? The volume, like an endless power bank is there. But you have to choose what check you are going to write and what you're going to go and collect in the bank. That's what Christians don't know. But they are waiting in their house and say, oh, if God will do this for me, I know God, I know God. The key is that God has given you access to unlimited favor, unlimited power. However, because that power cannot be wasted, cannot just be everywhere, the access key, the check, the secret to accessing himself, accessing that power, that is what every child must practice. Ask, seek, right? Ask and you shall receive, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened. Is that when you go to that bank and you ask, come boldly before the throne of grace that you may receive me. Everything you need is available, but God expects us now to ask. And according to the power of God in us, meaning the ones you've received, the power you've received, the instructions you've received, the one you've planted in your heart is the one you will produce. According to the power of God in you is what you will produce. You cannot produce what is not inside you. God is available, but we are. It's like even parent and kids relationship. The parent you have your own bank account, right? You are earning money, you have your own source. But if your child doesn't come to you and say, Mommy, I need shoe, Mommy, I need this, Daddy, I need this, Daddy, I need that, it's not everything that you provide. There are certain things you only give them when they ask. There are certain things, you have the capacity to buy them 10 shoes. If they are only asking for one, you will give them one. Somebody else is coming and asking for 5, somebody is asking for 10. What's the difference? Capacity, right? Interest, even the knowledge of how much money your father has. A child that knows the father has a lot of money will increase their ask. You see, if you know your father is a billionaire, right? If you know that your daddy and your mommy, they have a whole lot of money, you're not going to hold back. You're not going to cut your desires. You won't cut it short. You're going to go boldly because you know there's no limit to what you can ask for. And so we don't, I think Christians has been cultured. I don't even know to just limit their ask for some reason, but we'll go deeper into it. So for the first thing though, you only produce what is inside you. Okay, you cannot produce what is not inside you. And trust me, whether you're Christian or not, when it comes to money and success, the divine creative design, the creative design of every human, whether they are saved or unsaved, this principle still works. My father is loaded, yes. This principle works whether your soul is saved by Jesus, whether you give your life to Jesus or not. Heavenly access to heaven, okay, is one thing. Access to earth's resources follows another principle. Okay? So, Christians practice spirituality. We know how to pray. We know how to connect to God. We pray, we connect with God. but to connect with hearts, connect with people, connect with resources here on earth. That's what we're talking about. You are blessed. Your strategic positioning spiritually before God gives you access to things that are in heaven, your blessings, spiritual blessings, right? Grace, right? In Christian faith, we talk about, grace, mercy, right? Fruits of the Spirit, all right? These are spiritual gifts. Okay? When you want to manifest, right, in the physical, earthly form, they're spiritual gifts, they are earthly gifts. The principles, okay, when I talk about third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension rules, the concept of time, space, when it comes to physical, emotional, energetic, or spiritual rules, they are unique. The concept of time is unique, right? Time in physical world is driven by 24 hours, 365 days, the movement of the earth around its own axis and the earth around the sun. But when it comes to energetics, emotional, spiritual, the concept of time is not governed by earth, the rotation of the earth. Is that in the moment, God can bring about miracles, transformation, quantum leap, right? People can be anointed and favored to receive strategic gifts, right? Things can manifest that it might take somebody else 30 years. Another person can get it in a day. So the principles of energetics and spirituality can override physical condition. That's something Christians ought to know and be practicing. But unfortunately, Christians use physical limitations to hold back the flow of spiritual power. Oh, you don't have this. Oh, I can't do this. So they use physical concepts to block. It's a block. When you find yourself in thinking impossibilities, doubting, fearing, limiting, you've blocked the flow of power, because the power of God only flows, right, by faith, by belief. That's how you withdraw from that bank account. The heavenly transactions that manifest physically is energetic, it's faith, it's belief. And so anybody that cannot believe cannot receive physically what belongs to them spiritually. Right? Limitation, things that are hidden. Another block is that people who cannot see who they are, they cannot see the future God has for them. They cannot see what's possible for them. They cannot believe it. They cannot see it. They cannot hold it within themselves. They cannot manifest it. What you don't see, what you don't believe, what you don't have faith for, you cannot produce. Because these are the principles of success and money. That's why exposing, just making sure you expose your mind and yourself and your body and your spirit and your heart to possibility is important. To just see what is possible, see what other people are doing, right? Other humans. Just go into spaces. Just enter into rooms and listen to what people are talking about, like people talking about millions and billions, like in this same reality. If you don't see it, if you don't understand it, if you don't acknowledge it, you cannot manifest and operate at those levels. Those people are living, right, in the world they are producing with their mind. So when people don't ingest, when people don't should I say learn? It's more than learning. Learning is when we train our mind, right? But let's start at the heart level. Believing. Just believing is the first thing. Because that's the first fight. Is what are you believing for? Because whatever you're believing for is what your body is going to do anyway. Your body is going to put itself in the places you're believing for. And it's all of, right? Prodigal son that had inheritance, but the conversation he had inside himself with himself, okay, his body kept following that instruction. We're going to spend money, we're going to party, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Oh yeah, we're going to do this. Oh, he collected all the money. And that mind, the way he trained his mind, what he believed, the wild living, He lived it. The body will just do what you say you want to do. It won't hold you back. But eventually, he found, it's like his body ended up pig's pen. His self had to wake up and look around him and say, was this the original plan? This doesn't look like what I was hoping for. And then he then said, body, okay, mind, let's get up. So he had to give himself a new instruction again. You see, if he didn't give a new instruction, that's it. People are stuck when they don't give themselves new instruction. You can complain. Complaining is complacency. Nothing changes when people complain. But the prodigal son had to say, this doesn't look like where I'm coming from. He had to have a new instruction and say, get up, I will arise. You see, instruction, emotion, instructions for your body. I will arise, and then I will go back to this. And then he started dreaming of a new future. When I get there in my father's house, they even treat servants better than this treatment. He started telling a new story. He started weaving a new story. And the story he wrote was manifested. When he arrived from a distance, his father saw him, welcomed him back, and gave him a party. The stories you write inside you is the one you produce. He wrote a story that he was going to spend his money. He went it, he spent it. He wrote another story, he's going back home. He went back home, right? Is that when you, whatever you believe, whatever stories you write, whatever stories you believe, that's the one your body will be an actor. You will produce it, your mind will produce it, and your body will act it out. And whatever you see or you saw, that's what will be. And now let me connect this. So in the positive side, it works that way. In the negative, it does as well. That's what gives birth to fears, doubts, limitation, is because many people have projected an image of their own downfall. Okay? So positively, you can use your mind to dream of how God will rescue you, how God will make you rich, how God would lift you up. You may not know how, you may not understand the beginning, but your conclusions about life is where you will arrive, if people will understand this. Whatever conclusions you have about money, whatever conclusions you have about success, whatever success you think belongs to you, whatever one you script for yourself, that's where you are heading. That's where your body is heading. That's where it's going to plan to arrive. And so these ideas of fear, doubts, limitation is that people use that same system to craft a negative story of their own downfall, of their own defeat. And yes, your mind and body is about to go in that direction. That's why the body is screaming, emotionally, pain, don't take me there, don't take me there. So until people take a moment and come home and say, you know what? You have the ability to write. Why don't you write the best stories that would lead you to the best destination? Without doubt. Because doubt cancels belief. This is what part of the block. Oh, do you want to be successful? Yes. Do you want to make more money? Yes. Why are you not making it? Well, this is when the mind starts weaving a story of opposition. This is the opposition. Right? Whatever story or stories that is being woven inside you about why you are not achieving what you want to achieve, those are the things one by one you have to tear down. That's the stronghold. Those are the strongholds, one by one. They are the things, because there's an energetic charge tied to it. You have to de-energize it. You have to close. You have to remove those things one by one by one by one. Because as long as those things are opposing, you don't go anywhere. It's like pressing the accelerator, pressing the brake at the same time. People cannot move forward. Because for you to move forward in the direction you want to go, you actually have to energetically remove all barriers to your success. Internal barriers to your success. They are the fears, doubts, limitations, pain, struggles, and people's energy is tied up in that. The energy that you're supposed to be accelerating, moving fast, people are using it to manage, and those things in of itself right? They produce pain, emotional pain, right? Because people cannot be happy when they feel limited, that they cannot produce what they want. Okay. Before I go, I have my notes here. Before I go on, if anybody has any questions, the chat space is there, and then definitely you can bring video. Let me know if you want to engage further, right? But I'll keep going for now, and I'll be looking out to the chat space. So number 2 is this idea of, like I shared, emotions contain information, instructions, right? And energy, right? Energy, the ability to do work. Everything your body is going to do, manifest, where it's going to show up, what it's going to say yes to. Okay? Everything is going to say yes to. Your body doesn't say yes if you have not said yes internally. Your body will resist what you've resisted inside you. The body is just an actor. It acts out the script. It's like Hollywood, right? You sit down, you write your script, and then you give it to the mind will produce it, and then the mind will give the body, right? This is the instruction. Scene 1, act 1. When you wake up in the morning, do this. This is your lunch. This is your dinner, right? This is what you are going, this is what is given, permission given to the body. This is what you are allowed to do. The body is not allowed to do what it has not been approved, what it hasn't been approved to do by design. Your body is not supposed to go rogue. However, the mind can be corrupted to give the wrong instruction to the body. This is what self-sabotage is, right? The mind can be given the wrong instruction, and it may be giving the body the wrong instruction. Money, there's no money. And then you find people saying, oh, there's no money, oh, lack, right? It's like people can start speaking of lack over their own life, producing lack with their own words, thoughts, beliefs, because the mind has been programmed to think in terms of lack, not in the mindset of abundance. So part of the block is you cannot be speaking lack and see, right, and produce abundance. You have to change the dictionary and lexicon. It's like, I've not seen anybody that talks about, oh, I don't have, and then suddenly they have. It doesn't work that way. The people who have, they use their mouth to call in by faith. Speak of the things you are hoping for, the things you've not seen. You have to call it in. It's like a fisherman. Have you seen a fisherman saying, there's no fish, there's no fish? When are you going to catch a fish when you say there's no fish? People who say there's no fish, they don't see fish. Because the mindset and the belief system of lack does not produce prosperity. It doesn't. It's opposite. You cannot be pressing your leg on the brake and say, car, move. It's not going to move, because what is stopping? What is blocking acceleration? You are blocking the flow of, right, gas. The gas that will propel the car forward. If you press the brake on it, the energy to move people's life forward, they are the ones pressing the brake on their own life. With their words, with their thoughts, with their belief system. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, this. That stuff is a brake. Until you release it and then switch into the accelerator and learn how to drive and say possibilities, right? Let the weak say I am strong. Let the poor say I am rich because of what the Lord has done. If people don't move into that language of possibilities, they can't call in what heaven has for them. So the information within becomes the information without. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. When I listen to people, when I coach people, once people just start saying, but what will I do here? But what will I do here? Is that people don't know they are already operating out of lack. And that stuff cannot produce. It's like a farmer. If a farmer is holding a seed and keeps saying, oh, this seed is small, this seed is small. Well, you've not activated, right, multiplication. If you want to multiply the seed in your hand, you've got to follow the principle of sowing and reaping. So many people don't sow. Oh, this seed is too small. I have to manage it. You cannot manage, just generally money, one principle of money. You cannot manage your way. You cannot manage money into prosperity. You invest money into prosperity. That's one rule most people don't know. There's nobody that becomes wealthy without investing what is in their hand for the future they desire. So one of the blocks is that people who, whatever seed God that gives seed to the sower. If you are not a sower, you don't multiply whatever is in your hand. So people who don't sow, they will say they are managing. There is a principle of money. Let me share. Okay, there's this cycle. Your relationship with money, you need to learn how to attract it. This is where entrepreneurship is. Okay, you need to learn how to manage. So as you are reaping, right? So when a farmer reaps an harvest, okay, they reap an harvest, they will split it, right? They split it. Some of it they give generously. Some of it they store for next year. Some of it they are going to replant. Some of it they eat. Some of it, right? So that principle of entrepreneurship is that first because the first step is invest, but let me start at attract. It's a cycle. They feed each other. You attract money. When you attract money, then you're going to split that money. Some of it you will reinvest to attract more. Some of it you will put in certain place to produce more. So the general concept of money management is not just to keep, it is to continue to multiply. Because you cannot multiply what you are just hiding. Right? Parable of the talents. The 5 was invested and it produced 5 more. The 2 was invested, produced 2 more. The 1 that was kept and hidden did not multiply. Money does not multiply as long as you're like, oh, it's too small, right? It remains where it is. And this is a principle wealth creators know. It's either you are giving it generously to attract goodness, or you are investing it into a place that is to multiply. But if you just keep it, it remains like, right? And even in the Bible, they talked about if you had kept it in the bank, at least it will generate interest. So the concept of money, the relationship with money ought to be multiplication. Not just holding on tight, because whatever you hold on tight does not grow, does not multiply. That's all you got. You always like, that's it. Right? But again, it's tied to information, it's tied to instruction. So some people have given their body instruction to say, hide, hold it tight, there's nothing else out there, but they forget to give themselves instruction. Please, let's look for opportunities where we can multiply, right? Where we can use this to access things that will improve the value, our own self-worth, our own net worth, our own asset. It's an instruction. People who don't give themselves this instruction, your body will not act it out if you don't know it. So wealth creation knowledge is part of this issue. Is that what people don't know, they cannot produce. Right? And then something else to also watch out for is relationships. Energetic relationship. Money making generally, success and money by principle is based on energetic principles. However, some people will think that, the more work, physical labor that they make their body, they subject their body to, that translates to money. No. Money has another rule that is not just, it's not just effort. It's not physical effort alone. Physical effort, the prodigal son, even people at the base of the pyramid, the people who have the least money actually work the most. Do people understand that? Generally speaking, when we think about the hierarchy, what we say frontline workers, by energetics principle, by emotional principle, the people who work the hardest physically, right? Because this is part of information. People who think that their physical labor will create wealth and success. It doesn't follow that. It's actually energetic. What you do with your mind, what you do with your belief system creates more wealth than what you do physically. In fact, what you're supposed to be designing is to do physical work less and to earn more. That's what people are supposed to be engineering and planning for their future. Because if people don't plan this out, it doesn't change. It doesn't change. When you enter into a belief system that think work, physical work, the more we work. But trust me, the whole world is saturated that the world wants people unsuspecting people, people who refuse to also learn higher levels of understanding. Those who think the common knowledge is that just keep working. Oh, here's your job. Just work, 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 work. Why? Because those who are making money actually, right? If you, when you decide that you want to occupy higher levels of success, and the life you want to design for yourself will give you the freedom to spend time with your family, to go to yacht club, golf club, right? To live a certain life. Okay. Once you decide that this is the life you want, when you are building your system, when you are building this business that will support that life, right? In the Millionaire Mindset coaching program, in the Quantum Leap section, level 3, I talk about millionaire mindset. This is it. You've got to decide the life you want first, and then design what will help you create that life. Because autopilot does not create highest levels of. You have to decide, this is the vision I have for my reality. This is my legacy. This is what I'm working towards. The vision is the picture of your destination. Power of vision, part of 30 keys to unlock success. The vision you carry, the information you pass to your mind, the picture of that future, that's where you are going. Right? That's where your body will end up. When I say body, I mean everything we are doing in the physical world, where the things we are showing up to do every day when we wake up in the morning, what we are manifesting physically, right? What we are producing. You're going to produce the vision you carry. And so part of the millionaire mindset when it comes to money and success is the intentionality to understand that every day you are laying a brick that will help you produce the life you say you want. So intentionality about what am I building today? The things I'm doing today, is it supporting where I'm going, or is it helping you survive? Because survival does not lead to thriving. The mindset of, oh, let me just maintain. People continue to maintain. It's like an hamster wheel until you jump off it and you take a little bit more time and start crafting a different future. Survival does not translate to millionaire mindset. Those who build wealth, they build it intentionally. Money, success, any of these things is an intentional game. You don't storm, because people would think, Christians would think, oh, the more I serve God in the church, suddenly wealth will come. This is bad theology. It's like the more you serve God, suddenly you become a doctor, suddenly you become a pilot, suddenly you become a surgeon. It doesn't work that way. Because spiritual principles, energetic principles, manifestation principles, you produce, right, what you are creating, what you are manifesting, what you are intentional about. That's what you produce. So many times people want to complete an illegal transaction spiritually. If you don't go to that bank, you don't write a check, you don't withdraw the money, or you withdraw the money and spend it on something else, right? You withdraw the money, you withdraw the blessing, you withdraw the energy, you withdraw the ideas. Now you prayed, God, give me an idea. God gave you a business idea. You don't work on it. The idea is there in seed form. You don't nurture it. You're not spending, or God gives you energy to spend on productivity and you're spending it on something else. That's another thing Christians ought to know. The time, energy, and resources to produce intentionally what God wants us to produce, people can spend it on something else. They can be scrolling on social media 4 hours every day. No, I didn't do this. I'm like, listen, the energy time, see, when the sun is up, that's the opportunity to do work. The energy God gave you, if you keep spending it on 4 hours TikToking, you are not producing the future. Don't come back and say, oh, it doesn't exist. Don't blame God. People are abusing spiritual principle. Wherever you focus your time, energy, and resources, that's already what you are producing with your life. So that's another thing young people are making a mistake today. People who ought to be focusing. If you want to be a wealth builder, you have to focus on it. If you want to build a house and you don't show up to the house site, and the house is still imaginary, people don't create. You cannot build a house you didn't build or do anything for. So these are intentional things that we have to now start cultivating. Intentionality. We have to bring our energy, our time, our resources to create, to be intentional. If you want to make money, say you want to make money. If you want to be successful, say you want to be successful, and have a clear picture on what those things look like for you. Okay? What does it look like for you? And then start attracting. Okay? Because in order to create and manifest that same reality, guess what we have to do? We have to build the capacity. Okay? The capacity, the emotional capacity to handle that level of success. Okay? We can stumble on opportunities, right? But you don't stumble on success. Success is who you become, how you think, what you believe you deserve, what you want, what you desire. That is success. And once you become that, you will also learn how to convert opportunities into the life you want. Opportunities will match those who are ready for it. There are opportunities all around you. I hope people understand. Opportunities everywhere. But what's happening is people may not have the hindsight or insight. They may not have the skills to capture it and use those opportunities. And so becoming somebody that can see opportunities and can maximize opportunities, that's when success meets opportunity. So part of emotional capacity is clarity of what you want to produce and then becoming the person, because once you become that person, you become unstoppable. So number 4, right? That's around spotting opportunities. So can you spot it? Can you see it? Can you pursue it? Can you convert it into realities? Right? Because what I'm trying to do today is to also shift people's thoughts about money and to activate desire and belief. Because if you don't desire and if you don't believe it, you can't produce it. Nobody can produce it for you. You produce what you carry within yourself. One thing I also want to share, which is also part of the principles of manifestation, is you actually attract what is familiar. Because once you carry a story within you and you emotionally charged and you expose that story, instruction, the person you become, the person you are physically now, you will naturally attract people who think like you, people who believe like you, people who want what you carry. Okay? And so something to reflect on is, what are you attracting? What do you carry? And what you are carrying, is it attractive? Who would want what you carry? And what value would they put on what you carry? I know it's quite dynamically, like it's complex, but I want you to understand that I said you produce what is inside you. Now, what you're carrying, the information you carry, the knowledge you have, the skills you have, the person that you are, your life, the way you are energetically charged, who you are attracting who you are, because you attract what is familiar. That's where relationship is established. And I'm now asking, how would people perceive you? Okay? When they see you, what you carry, the information you carry, the knowledge you carry, the skills you carry, who will consider it as valuable enough to pay you financially for it? This is self-reflection. I want people to really understand, right? Because when we say invest in yourself, grow your capacity, gain more skills, the only reason is because ultimately, if you want people to pay you money, they've got to believe that there's something you can do they cannot do for themselves. That there's something you have that will enhance their own life. So your own intrinsic value Not your value as a human being. That is not to be measured. I'm saying your contribution. The contribution you can make to improve the life of other person. How significant that is what you are going to financially be rewarded for here in life. It's the entry door of entrepreneurship. People have to see, they have to perceive that you know something they don't know. You can do something they cannot do. You can produce something they need. Because that's where value perception is. Because if you cannot demonstrate capacity, if you cannot do something other people cannot do, if you cannot produce something people need, you are not relevant to their advancement. They can be your friend. They can be your family member. But for people to see you as somebody producing something of value in the world, this is where wealth creation starts kicking in. And so people don't know that you get to decide. Because even to have a job, even for you to get a job, your employer must actually believe that the skills you put on your resume is valuable to them, is useful to them. If they don't believe it is useful, there's no point. They won't be employee. And I'm saying that principle persists on all affairs as well. Now, God has a way of blessing the work of your hand, right? Scriptural. More blessings, more spiritual blessing, more attractiveness, more divine attractiveness can come in to amplify the impact of your work. That is a spiritual concept. Because when a farmer sows one seed, that seed is spiritually multiplied. It breaks down, except a grain falls to the ground, it doesn't multiply. But I'm also saying, what are you actually presenting to people? What are you presenting to God that is going to multiply and invite more people to, right? Jesus raised 5 loaves and 2 fishes. That was multiplied. The divine blessing comes when you present something. So what you have control over is what are you presenting. Hi, Chisholm. Good to see you. Right? You want money, but money is always looking for value. People spend money on things that they value. In the entrepreneurship branding marketing space, when I teach, right, in the Entrepreneurs Academy section, I go deeper into why you have to brand, why you have to market, right? Why you have the principles of sales, right? The accelerator is there. I'm just sharing this in general in terms of one of the money blocks is when people think it's magic. That all you have to do is pray, pray, pray. Prayer will multiply. But realize you have to present yourself first. When you are engaging with people, when you are talking to people, they are assessing you just as you are assessing people, just as you are evaluating people. If you want to hang around them, if you want to do work with them, if you want to buy from them, if you want to live with them, if you want to engage with them, please realize people are doing the same of you. And the key is when they evaluate you, what are they going to say about you? How are they going to perceive you, perceive your work? What do they say about you? What do they say to other people about you? You need to understand, because those are the things you can influence. Okay? Also evaluate the stories within you. I'm going to start shifting a little bit to interaction now because I've shared a lot. Okay? What are you attracting? And then let me move you more into intentionality. What do you want to attract? Okay? Let me bring you up now. What do you want to attract? Who do you want to be? Chisholm, I don't know if you're available, but if yes, feel free to come. If not, that's okay. What are you currently attracting? Who are you currently attracting? How do people currently perceive you? How did they perceive the value you are contributing to them? Financially, did they consider it to be financially viable? And then with intentionality, where are you going? Hi, good to see you again. So talk to me. You've been here. Let me stop here and then let's talk.
Can you hear me, Coach? Because it's kind of low, so I want to make sure that
I can hear you. I hope I'm on high volume. Okay, good.
Okay. Oh, I wrote down. Yeah, I have a list of stuff that I've taken notes on. Plan a new idea. You know, changing the program that I have set for myself into something bigger and higher. I remember when I first, the revelation, excuse me, of understanding that I didn't want to be, I couldn't bring anybody to God. I didn't know, because if I knew that I served a God that was bigger than anything I could ever dream, think, or imagine. And that he had everything. But if I'm poor in spirit and poor, or not spirit, but if I'm poor in, and I don't want to say material, but I have to use it like that. Who am I going to attract to God if I'm not, or who am I going to even speak to if I don't have what somebody else might want? The world is a material world. Unfortunately, that's just how we are. So when I started to grow in my career and in my education, the thing that I wanted was to make sure that I was elevated enough to be able to give what was not being seen in the church. I read where, God had elevated people in the Bible, and that, but we were being taught, that money is the root of all evil. And, but every day you're asking me for my money, and it's not being, I don't want to, I have enjoyed and I love where I'm at spiritually and faith-wise, and I've grown. It has allowed me to do things in my life that I know I would not have done if it had not been for the teaching. But I knew that there was something bigger, there was something stronger. And in order for me to be able to show the next generation, I had to step out there on faith to do that. So now grasping the concept, because, like I said, Coach, other coaches would speak at you, but I needed somebody to speak to me. I needed somebody to, hammer it and say, girl, you ain't where you need to be. So, it was that kind of teaching and learning, and that has allowed me to change the relationships that, I'm surrounding myself with, and different thoughts. But I knew I still wasn't where I could grow to be. So just asking myself, who do I want to be? What do I want to attract?
Let me share something. Let me share a luxury that we Christians have that we are not maximizing. Okay, this is supposed to be the number one secret of Christians for success.
I found 178.
Can you still hear me?
I'm trying to. It's low, but I'm.
Is it this one? Okay, I want to make sure you understand. Okay, is this better?
We're good.
Okay. The number one secret that, if I can share it with all Christians, okay, this is the power of all Christians. Let me say there's a transaction with heaven. How you engage with God. There are also earthly transactions, trade. Parable of the sower is how we relate with humans, how we exchange values with humans. That's the birthplace of the world of business.
Right.
It's based on human to human, how we bless each other, how we transact. The secret for Christians is that heaven can give you what earth demands, so that you will always have in your hand what you can trade with. That's what Christians are missing. Dollars, if you want to be rich in earthly affairs, you have to hold something in you that will attract blessings. Bible will talk about Jesus grew in favor with God and with man. You can grow in favor with God. Are you growing in favor with man? right? Because favor attracts. And favor in of itself is not material. It is an heavenly endowment that can attract earthly material. Where people will call you and say, I want to work with you. When they pick you, when they bless you, whether with money or anything, Christians are supposed to be the ones enjoying this the most. But for you to get that kind of favor, you must do a lot of internal things to make sure God can endow you so that you can hold the favor of God and man. Because people can self-sabotage. All this work. Oh, this. If you're a complaining person, a hungry person, an unhappy person, a sad person, is that going to attract favor? What it might attract is pity and charity. When people see somebody suffering, they will have pity on them and they will move on. You don't hang around people who have pity. You bless them and move on. I'm saying favor is not pity. Favor commands honorable treatment, respectable treatment. The best that people have, they will give to people who have favor. It's not charity. It's not that you're seeing somebody no, favor is you command the blessing of man. Christians ought to have this is free to Christians. Right? So even God will give you the ideas, the skills. God has already given people ideas, skills that you now have to produce that will get you all this money. Even this is the principle of business. You're not going to give your money to somebody that is not doing something for you.
Right.
Who did your hair? Who did your nails? Who did your apparel? Who did your shoes? That's where your money is going. People who produce the things you're consuming. That's where you spend your money, your bills, your house. This is where money flows. Money is constantly flowing, but it will only flow into the hands that are productive. The reason you have a salary is that on that job, you are producing the result for them. The day you stop producing, they're not paying salary anymore.
Right.
Why can't Christians grasp this stuff? A laborer is worthy of their wages. The wages is for your production, the work you do. And God can see your work and amplify and give you more than you deserve. You can pray and say, God, give me more. Give me a better boss. People do this on the job. You change. When the employer when you want more money, you say, please promote me. If they don't promote you, go and look for another job and you move on. There's freedom to do these things. Go ahead, please.
No, I'm just digesting, Coach. I'm just learning so much because it's just amazing. It's just amazing to be able to digest and to understand that there's a new way to work on the inner person, to know that I have to come off autopilot and be able to understand, to read, to get the knowledge that I'm needing to get to the next level.
And to also, you've got to, within you, you have to say to yourself, what do you want? And to say it without doubting. Because part of what happens is, the moment you're saying it, some people say, what would other people think? Who cares?
Yeah.
Say what you want within you and don't doubt. You have to believe. You don't have to know how it will manifest yet, but you've got to believe and desire it within you. It is a requirement. It's a must. Because what you don't plant inside you, you don't produce. Yeah. You don't produce $1 million if it's not inside you. Right? You don't produce the level, if you say I want a job for $100,000, you will find it. If you say 60, you find. If you say 150, people find what they are looking for. If you're not looking for a $150,000, $200,000 per annum job, you won't even apply for it. You're going to apply for the job you believe you can accept. Isn't that mindset? Some people are looking for a job that will pay them $500,000. And that's what they are looking for. They will not, they might see 100K and say, no, that is beneath me.
Yeah.
Some people are applying for jobs where they will give them millions of dollars, executive level. If you offer them 250, they will reject it. Because it is not affiliate, they don't have any relationship with anything less than $1 million. What is inside you is what you're looking for outside you. What is inside you is what you are going to tolerate and accept. What is inside you is what you are going to produce. If it's not inside you, you don't produce it. Whatever is inside you, if 600K is inside you, if 60,000 is inside you, if 150 is what is inside you, that is what you will be looking for. That's what your mind, that's what you are programming your mind to produce. You don't produce what is not inside you.
So, Coach, you talked about don't withdraw and spend it on something else. So, when God gives you an idea or drops something, download something into your heart and into your spirit, how do we hold on to that? How do we?
Yeah, because the enemy is parable of the sower. Some will fall on rocky sand. Everybody received, but the state of their hearts, birds can come and chew a field, right?
Just as quickly as it.
Just as quickly. They might be happy. Toyin said something. I love what she said. By the time they sleep and tomorrow, something else has TikTok is more interesting.
Yeah.
The way we don't let go is that you actually let go of the things stealing your time, energy, and resources. You have to delete. You have to delete the things. Everybody is given time, energy, and resources. Not everybody is spending it well. Okay. Right? Because if you read the stories of the most successful people, they all started with a garage or something, right? So in of itself, success and money, the first investment is energy. It's not money. Many people say, I don't have money. No. Let's check where you spent your time yesterday. Your time and your energy. That one is the gift of God. You see? You see what I'm saying? This today, the blessing that is in today, you're supposed to be searching for today, right? Bless us each day. But what is going on is, as long as your time and energy is focused on other things that is not moving you forward, that is stealing that same time and that same money, you don't have enough to focus on your future. So being more intentional to resist. Remember I talked about resisting, your power of no. It's not just your power to say yes. As long as once you start saying yes to your future, you have to say no to things that want to hold you back. Because everything is looking for, you see, the past and the future, they need your time and they need your time and attention. There are relationships that need your time and attention. there are people in your past that want more of you. They are still there until you choose your future relationship. And also, by the way, when you move into the future, do you know different relationships will show up in your future that you are supposed to give more time to? There's some relationship that is tied to your past. There's some relationship that is tied to your future. When you think about in the Bible, when you see David and Samuel, the prophet that was supposed to anoint David, where was he when the anointing day came? He was in the backyard. They had to go and call him. Don't be found doing what you've always been doing the day God wants to crown you. Right? He was doing what is all in his place of faithfulness. He was being faithful, but the day that he was supposed to be hanging around for anointing, for kingship, he wasn't there. There are some phone calls that I've seen this in my own private life. You can be working. That's why I said opportunities can come when you are not looking. But God knows when you've done the work on yourself, your promotion is like that. It's a phone call, it's a meeting, it's an email that can change your life forever. I've seen this happen too many times. That's why I say, the Bible will say watch and pray. But people are not watching. People are not praying. They are playing. People are playing with their future. And if you play with your future, there are many things ready to play along. You see, today there's all kinds of play. People can play anyhow. Even on the bed, you can play. Like play is, and there's room for rest. There's room for play. So I also, right, fun, hanging with the kids, right? Yes. But being more intentional with your time, energy, and resources to make sure you are investing it in the future, not the past. Because the future needs all of you. The past always asks for all of people as well. So how do you strategically, it takes wisdom. How do you strategically start giving more of yourself? Because the future you build is the one you are going to step into. The house you build is the one you are going to live inside. Right? The things you give your time and attention to is the one you're going to produce. There's no other way. So people are already producing by wasting their time. So procrastination, not being intentional, time is already going, money is going. Like people think they can save these things. People, when I talk about saving, you can't save your way to, you're supposed to be investing in the future to produce bigger results.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a principle, but many people have been cultured to think suddenly, because they are Christians, suddenly one day you just get there. It doesn't work that way. And I wish they taught people more about intentionality, just as intentional as people said, which school do you want to go to? What do you want to study? You see the diligence of looking at different schools, picking this one, looking at curriculum, picking this one. That's how we ought to be with the next level of future. But we are not being intentional. We are just random. These days, people are random. So don't be random. That's the key. Every single day. First of all, decide, what do you want? Have a vision for where you're going, because that ought to inform what you're building. If you want to build a house, you need an architect to say, okay, how many rooms in that house? Is it 1 story, 2 story, 5 story? So I want to encourage you to do that first. Is today have a picture of who you are in a way, because spiritually, in the heart of God, we exist in a version, right? God actually knows the end from the beginning, right? So it's not so God knows your right, the original plan, where he wants you to be operating divinely, because based on what he wants you to be, he has already endowed you. He has endowed your spirit with all of that information and capacity spiritually. So you are spiritually endowed for your future. What usually happens is that, you see, your heart, mind, body needs to receive that information. This is the principle of meditation. You need to go and learn from God who he created you to be, what that looks like, so that you can start operating at that level. If he anointed David as king, but a king is still doing shepherd boy, do you see the gap? Do you see the gap? David is anointed to be a king,
Right.
but he's a shepherd boy. Many people are anointed to lead, the world. But today,
Still operating.
they're still where they are.
Yeah.
How do you close the gap? Because the quantum leap is accelerate your journey from where you are to where God wanted. Because many people are not where they ought to be today. This is where the lack of growth, stunted growth. People have not grown at the right rate. And so God is upgrading people fast. There's a speed now in the spirit, right? Is that hurry up and grow spiritually, emotionally, physically. The growth that people have been supposed to access over the last 20 years, now you have to accelerate. You have to speed it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope people understand that concept of speed. Hurry up and grow. Hurry up, and so that the reason you need to grow is so that you can inherit God's promises. The promises are not for children that don't have capacity, right? To inherit everything God has for you, to lead in the dimensions you are called to lead. There's actually forced growth now. That's what I'm seeing, that God is literally kicking some butts. Like, when I say, pardon me, like, God is literally pressure. There's a new pressure, a holy pressure. People are being subjected to incredible pressure because God wants to bet what is in them. Like the investments he has made in his people, God is like, give it to me, because by now there are generations that ought to be blessed, that because you've not stepped into your territory, they are not blessed.
And we feel the pressure.
I'm sorry?
We feel the pressure. We feel that.
You
that
feel
pressure
yes,
that you're speaking
because
of.
the children of Israel were supposed to enter the promised land, and their children were supposed to have inherited the promised land.
Right.
They made their children do the work they refused to do. The work our parents, that certain parents were given this dream you're trying to bet. There were parents who were given this dream 20, 30 years ago. For their own fears, doubts, whatever limitations, they didn't do the work. So now so the children now must march. They must march around Jericho. They must do the work their parents didn't do. They must now claim the land that land was left maybe for 40 years, maybe for 50 years in the hands of the enemy, simply because they did not grow. Simply because they didn't fight their giants, simply because they didn't change mindset, simply because they didn't believe, simply because they didn't walk with God. The promised land was left for years because one generation refused. Now God is saying, okay, the children that was born in the desert, come and claim what originally you were supposed to inherit at birth. Only Joshua and Caleb stepped into the promised land because they believed. So people who don't listen, so that's what's going on now, is that the work you are doing would have been easier if your parents did it. People are inheriting third generation of wealth already. Now there's history, there's all those things, but this is the time where there's even no excuses. Whether it's Egypt slavery, whether it's this, there's no excuse. Come and take your land. Come and take your territory. Come and take your place. Come and take assets. That God has reserved wealth for his people. God has reserved land, cities, nations for his people. So it's not over. It's not over. So if you want land, there's land. If you want company, you just have to pick your own. And if you don't pick, your children will do this. You don't want your children, like, we are already trying to do what ought to have been done generations ago. And by the way, the things that belong to you, other people want it too.
Okay. Yeah.
No, listen, the wealth, money, success is not vacant land. Do you think the promised land was vacant? It wasn't vacant. The giants went back and continued to eat the grapes.
Right.
The giants that the parents didn't fight, they just kept eating it for years. The grapes that belonged to you, that you were supposed to eat and grow big and strength, you left it to the giants. you still the descendants of the giants now, you deal with them.
But there's still giants that still wants it.
But here's what also happened. The next generation, they got a bigger support from heaven. Did you notice that? Did you notice that? With the angels, right? There was, because this time around, God was like, you must not fail. You cannot fail anymore. I'm going to make sure enough host of heaven, angels, they support you in claim. You just walk around 7 times, and on the 7th day, walk around 7 times, and then shout. The angels will do the rest. Quantum leap. But you have to obey. If you're willing and obedient, you will eat the good of the land. Now, but when God is serious, he also knows when there is more opposition, he will back you with more heavenly support. But you still have to move. You still have to take action. In fact, let me tell you, part of this school follows that principle. Whatever you invest, you are getting so much more than you invest, but you still have to invest.
Yes.
You see, that's the thing with God. Whether it's 5 loaves and 2 fishes, if that is all you have, raise it. We will multiply. But the principle of investment must persist. And anybody that is saying they will not put in energy, they will be left. Because there's a principle that heaven doesn't show up if you don't show up to your territory. Your leg, that's why I said wherever your feet touch, it will give you. You still have to use your feet to touch the ground you are going to receive. You still have to use your hand to test and eat. That is what you are the one giving permission to for heaven to show up on earth. Heaven doesn't show up in a dimension men have not, right? Men is retreating from. So you have to match, you have to invest your time, your energy, and resources, and then the force of heaven will be amplified. In the Old Testament, when they said by this time tomorrow, this, and right? How did this happen? People, lepers walking, God amplifies, but somebody still has to walk. Whether it is with whatever limitation, you have to still move forward. It wasn't an army that moved forward. These were people that were in the outskirts already. People have given up on. Heaven used their footprints to defeat the enemy and to create a plunder that fed nations. But somebody has to move though. You see, somebody still has to say, let's move. Maybe God will help us. Somebody's got to move. Listen, with whatever you have, throw it at your future. What is going to be unacceptable is when you say you don't have anything. That one, you everything you have. This academy practices the principle because what people can access in this school is priceless.
Priceless.
Absolutely, it is world class. The leaders in the world, they don't like. I know that. I know that. So this is not, bring 100,000. People are paying 100 millions, right? But you will put something down to access. And I had a student, people are paying this. They are not getting anything that we are getting here. They are not.
They're not.
But God has a principle that people must not abuse. And many people want to abuse it. And they don't know. That already keeps them out of this thing. Because earth must move. Earth must declare. You must say to yourself, this is what you want. You must ask. You must seek. Right? You must knock. Because the things you are asking for, the things you are seeking for, the things you are knocking for is what heaven will multiply and give to you. What you are not asking for. Right? But God also knows how to bless you beyond, but God decides how he measures people's faithfulness. You know that. Solomon, he made sacrifices that God brought attention of God, and God added unto him what he asked for. God gave him more than he asked for. So there is a but that is heaven. That's what I mean by heaven's transaction. I feel like Christians are not engaging with heaven the way they ought to.
Right.
Right? They are not engaging God with the right knowledge of God.
I
Because
don't think they know how to.
that's because if you know, and his Bible says those who know their God will do exploits.
Right.
So there is a knowledge of God that we must have that will affect and influence what we are doing physically.
Mm.
So what do we know about God and money? About God and success? Because if you start telling stories, oh, God, you manifest it. But if you read the scripture that says, ask, right? When you know the heart of God, that God is not holding anything back from you, but your own internal state of being, your heart, your mind, your body, can be the block. Because God says he didn't hold his son from us. So what is more precious to him than his son? He didn't hold the best of heaven from you. So why would he be holding whatever money, whatever from you? He doesn't hold anything back from us. We have to understand this. God does not hold anything back from his children. He doesn't. Now, he may want you to be mature. You may not be ready for it. It's like you may inherit a car, but if you can't drive the car, then it's irresponsible for a parent to give a child what they've not matured to. That is real. That's where maturity, hurry up and mature, hurry up and grow, so that you can handle the things God has for you, is part of the key message of today. Because prosperity, wealth, money comes with greater responsibility spiritually. Because you're going to use that money to bless the world. You're going to use that money to create things for people, right? So the heart of serving the world in of itself, whether with your money, right? Bible also wants us to you serve God, you will serve his people, all that is yours, right? Where your treasure is, that's where your heart is. So one of the things to also watch out for, because Christians today, they are buying into what I call poverty mentality. They are abusing spiritual laws and principles. You find people today, even in the church, they will say, oh, you are not giving money, you are not giving. That in of itself is that ultimately the principle of generosity and giving is the most attractive you can ever be. Even in business. Any business owner that doesn't know how to attract people, how to be generous to people, how to be kind to people, you can't grow you are not going anywhere. So the principles of generosity, the principles that allows you to be kind and generous and be a good resource person, that someone who holds resource and knows how to distribute these resources upon the earth, is a requirement. So whether it is money you're donating, whether it's using yourself to serve the world, because that's where it actually starts, right? Is that your service, your generosity, encouraging people, inspiring people is part of this whole journey. It's not just money. Success is not just money. In fact, the most successful thing you will get is not money. Your well-being, your health, goodwill. There are many, many things that is tied to spiritual wealth that money cannot buy. So let people understand that the transaction with heaven, and there are many, many things God wants to bless. He has already blessed you so much in many dimensions that is not money, but money is a specific resource. It's printed paper by the government, the land in which you are doing transaction. It is the paper that is acceptable in your nation. Anything of material you want to acquire has a monetary value tied to it. So if you want to acquire those things on the earthly world, is it that somebody gives you for free or you transact? So earthly transaction is what commands money. And if you're a consumer, you're giving your money to consume. If you're a producer, people are giving you money to get what you have. Miss Beverly says your volume, but we are still here. Okay, I don't know why the volume, I've tried to increase. Let me see. I've tried to increase it. Hopefully when this process is, maybe I'll try and see if I can add on the volume so people can hear as well. But I could hear you, and I hope people can hear me loud and clear as well. Oh, okay, no problem. It's on your head. Okay, so I hope this has helped. I'm thinking this needs to be some form of unpacking this more and more, because it's very deep, very, very, very deep. It's very, very deep. But what I want you to walk away with, that number one, is you actually produce what is inside you. The thoughts inside you, your belief system, gives instruction to what your body and your mind is doing. And if there's a limit, right, it's already set to a limit. And so if you want greater success, financial success, you have to remove the limits you've put there. Whether you put it there, whether it's society, whether it's familiar, whether it's unconsciously, most of it is actually unconscious. People don't know that by default, they've capped their success, because success is intentional. The last time you took time out to think about what you want, if all you thought about was, I want a job, I want a job, I want a job, that is, and you forgot about it 10 or 15 years ago, that programming is what will continue to play forever until or unless you say you want more than that. So the mind doesn't produce more than what you say you want, but the mind can produce everything you say you want. So the control you have is to instruct your mind, to give it new instruction. You have to insist. Your mind actually has to see that you are serious. And the way your mind takes you seriously is to the level of energy you invest in that future. You see, you cannot say, I want this, I want that, I want to lose weight, and then tomorrow morning there's a reminder, let's go and jog, and you say, no, we're not giving energy to this. Okay, day 2, let's jog. Say, no, let's go to the gym. You keep saying no, meaning a refusal to invest energy in what you tell your mind. Eventually your mind will be quiet. It will say you are not going again, and it will come back to the old. So the way you actually train your mind is, your mind wants to see how serious, and your seriousness is determined by your focus and energy investment, not just money. When you say to yourself over and over and over and over, right? You say something to yourself, I want this, I want that, I want that, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And you keep repeating every day, and you're serious about it, and you're showing up, your mind will then come along, because you have to train your mind to behave in the new way you want it to behave. You have to do it enough times that overrides the old programming, the biology, because your body is wired with the instruction on how to perform the old duties. When you want more, you are going to need to retrain, rewire yourself to become a new person. In fact, the first thing that is produced is a new you. People don't understand. Whenever you want to go to higher levels of success, the first journey is transformation. Before your external changes, your internal will change, your mind will change, your words will change, everything about you will change to mirror that person. Because that person is the one to attract. The version of you that will attract favor, the version of you that will create, the version of you that will move into destiny. That's the first manifestation. That version must show up. The version of you that can handle money, handle success, handle wealth, be taken seriously. Your words, your thoughts, you must have within yourself and carry the value that will command that attention. That's the first thing under construction. You are under construction. You are seriously under construction. When you want to make more money, that's why you go to training. That's why you gain more skills. That's why you gain more understanding, so that you can think differently, increase your knowledge, your behavior will change, communication skills. We are under construction. Jesus said, he will prune so that we might bear more fruit. That pruning is what people don't want to subject themselves to. Everybody says, I want more fruit, more fruit, more fruit. The Bible says prune, prune, prune. The unproductive side, the old, right? New wine skin. And behold, I'm doing a new thing. Can you not perceive it? When God is doing a new thing, you must become a new person. Because when God wants to engage with you, he wants to engage with the next version of you. That's why you see in the Bible, he changes names. When he wants to give Abraham child, because the old language, the old behavior, the old mindset might be sabotaging future ascension. So God knows how to deal with the old. Look at the Bible, right? Gideon was hiding. Mighty man of valor. Which version is that? which version? Is it the one hiding? No, the one we're about to produce. The one that is going to go and tear down Father's idol. The one that is going to publicly demonstrate capacity. The one that, in fact, you're only going to get 300 men. You thought you will get a big army. No, the one that will be put under pressure to operate at the capacity God has designed him. That mighty man of valor talks about the future that Gideon is going to be produced. And if you see every step of the way, God engaged Gideon as a mighty man of valor. He was training him. He was saying, you will work with this, you will not work with this person. And Gideon was like, hey, how will we do this? Keep moving. How will we do this? Keep moving, because I'm producing you. The future version of you is what God will first produce, because that future version is the one that can do the work. So God is working with people right now to produce a higher version of you. The pruning, the pressure, the shaping, the rewiring, the transformation is that God is making sure what he has put in you, you must produce. The version he wants to see, the version that the future belongs to, must arrive before the future shows up. You see, the world is racing into the future. And the version of you that will thrive and survive or make it into that future, when you feel God pressuring you to change, to transform, to improve, is because that future will demand of you capacity you don't have right now. Where the world is going, if you are not ready for it, skills of the future, mindset of the future, beliefs of the future that will help you thrive in that future, God is saying, hurry up. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up and produce. Because the version of you that can enter into that future and will not be broken, you have to produce it. So you look around you. That's part of the key message now. Hurry up and grow emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, because the world as it is coming demands you. When the world is shaking, the systems are shaking, financial systems are shaking. What you've been relying on, when they are removed from under you, will you stand or are you going to break? So God is building strength, inner capacity, emotional capacity, so that you can stand. So that you can stand, so that you can be relevant, so that you can be useful, so that you can manifest, so that you will not be swept away where the world is going, so that you can be relevant, powerful, effective. Because that future is racing so fast. So fast. So fast. Economies are changing. Rules of the game is changing. Everything is changing. And so God's people must adopt a new mindset, a new belief system. You actually have to operate at a higher version of you. Everybody needs this upgrade. We must upgrade ourselves. We must upgrade ourselves, because end time, all this pressure, there will be pressure, or you have to have a new strength. Humans have to, I tell people, like, humans have to be we all need this upgrade. Let me just put it that way. There is an upgrade that is available in how we think, what we say, and the world, the superiority of humans to rule the world, because we are here to rule, to dominate, is that when other things want to rule, humans have to level up again, right? Because this is your earth. This earth belongs to humans. There are many things that has been done, but anyway, I won't go too much into that that space. But believe me, you're here to rule, and if you're not ruling, you're operating beneath what God wants you to do. And so that's the key. And that's my parting speech. Any other questions, thoughts, comments? Do you want me to bring you back up to give your parting words? And then I'll wrap it up today. Whew. Thank you, guys. Let me give you a few seconds. If not, then I'll close it out.
Beautiful as always, Coach. I have a lot to think about. I have a lot to prepare myself for. I'm excited. I'm really, really, really excited for the future. I know that my voice have been shut down for the last couple of years, and it's time to be comfortable with it again as far as speaking. So I thank you for that. As always, I thank you.
Yeah, and assert yourself. So, definitely there's a lot of inner capacity, emotional capacity. Once you do that inner work, what's going to come out is your personal power. You grow your power, because ultimately most of it steals people's power away. All this other stuff, it just makes people irrelevant. It kicks people off. It makes people not engage in the reality, right? So when you do the inner work, what comes out is your personal power. And now you have to learn how to use your power. And part of your power are your thoughts, like what comes out of you, you see? So there's what is going on inside you that nobody can see. Your inner world, your thoughts, your opinion about yourself, what you're processing, what you're believing, what you're manifesting. Nobody can see it. You can look good, smell good, and everybody's, oh, nice, right?
Yeah.
But when you have personal power, is that you start holding presence. You start exerting, like you start influencing. Okay? You start being effective. What it then means is not just inside you, is that what's coming out of you has effect on the world. And God wants us to have positive effects, right? So that also takes discipline. How we use power, our personal power, not just within ourselves, but now in the world. This is where creativity, productivity, intentionality comes in, because it's actually very easy to be destructive, right? This is so people are already creating chaos within themselves, and anybody in relationship with them is already chaotic. The things they say, how they say it. So you don't have to be intentional to be chaotic. By default, people are living in chaos, right? They manifest chaos. When you become more intentional, when you become more disciplined, you now have to be more careful. The things you say, how you say it, who you relate with, where you spend your time, energy, right? This is actually more work. It creates more work. Discipline is more work, right? Doing no work is the default is chaos. Right? That noise. But once you take care of that, you have peace in your heart. You have peace between your heart and your mind. God then challenges us to be a contributing, to be a productive member of the society. And when I say productive member of the society, I'm using that phrase so that people understand, is that there's a level of productivity. Even people who are not doing this work, you can hold down a job, you can show up, you can be productive to a certain level. But the higher level of success requires greater level of intentionality. That's what I'm saying. Is that the more you want to achieve for God, the more you want to do, actually you need more discipline. It's just like those who can hold a job. You still have to be disciplined enough to show up when you're supposed to show up for you to get your paycheck. You have to still clock in and clock out. That is discipline. And that discipline is instituted by your employer. However, when you go to the next level, self-discipline is the key. Nobody will tell you where to go, when to go, what to do with your time, right? But you have to do it for yourself. That's what is more difficult. You can impose discipline to people who don't have self-discipline. But when you set people free, you're now running your own business. Who is going to discipline you? Who is going to guide you self? It's easy to discipline. All you have to do is give people conditions. If you want your salary to come this time, these are the expectations. People will be forced to obey. because they want their salary, right? If you're in class and the teacher says, if you don't show up, there's attendance. Cost and consequences exist. You don't show up, you don't get grades. You will show up. My point is, at the highest levels, nobody is watching you. It's you and you. If you like, waste your time. If you like, waste your life. If you like, waste your money. Nobody is policing anybody. That's where self-discipline comes in. And so those who don't understand self-discipline cannot survive, because they are externally wired and conditioned for somebody externally to be guiding you. When you don't have self-leadership, self-discipline, is that people cannot survive at the highest level because they are used to external people holding them accountable. So part of emotional freedom, part of growing power is now you have to put yourself, you are now responsible for yourself. But most people don't even get there. They don't get there because system has already put you on assembly line. Show up here, show up there. So you are just obeying other people's script. The higher levels require you to wake up, have your morning discipline, figure out what you're doing for your day, hold yourself accountable, don't waste your time. That is full time, what you now have to be doing. Stop controlling other people, stop letting other people control you, but now self-control, fruit of the spirit. This is where it starts kicking off. This is when it starts kicking off, when nobody is saying, where do you need to be? Like, what some people say, Toyin, you are showing up here, you're showing up here. Nobody's asking me to. Right?
Yeah.
I show up. Listen, I don't have to show up for nobody, but there's a discipline that you must put yourself to learn, to develop, to grow, to impact the world, to do what God is. Because all of a sudden, this contract between you and God is no longer between you and man.
Right.
There's contract between you and your employer, you and man. Show up here, show up here. You have to be, when they are looking at you, you do what. But when no man is looking, would you be found faithful? That's the next level. Okay. So there's a question. Thank you, coach. Hurry up and grow. Hurry up and grow has been the message. God has asked if of me lately and exercise self-control. So I am growing that fruit of the spirit. Okay, good. I'm trying to clarify, like, this thing that is happening, this pressure, right, is real. This is for leaders, people who are called into leadership. And we need more Christian faith-based leaders in business, in the workplace, everywhere. People that know God, people that care about people who have capacity, who have strength, who have the vision to lead people into the right place, who have the right hearts, the right mind, the right skills to lead God's people into the future. That's what this is about, and much more. And definitely the wealth side is the reward. You will be handsomely rewarded. You have to put that, because many people don't understand the transaction, the earthly transaction. There's heavenly transaction, but trust me, there's earthly reward. There's also heavenly reward. Think of things above, not things beneath. Seek God's kingdom first. This is soul assignment, people, right? So while other people that are not Christians can do it their own way, if you're a Christian, right, you have to understand that the most valuable thing here on earth is God's people. It's not money. You can show, like, it's not money, but money is a strong reward. Gold, silver, all those things, they are fantastic. I love them. Listen, I will totally put the best on me. The best belongs to me. My Father owns the earth. Let's all know the soul of man is not on sale. So the service to man, we must always understand that this is what is on God's mind, right? And so saying yes to God, we have to put that. We have to understand that soul assignment, helping people be well, there's business around it. There's entrepreneurship around it. Is that whatever you can contribute to help other people be well, that's what you'll be rewarded for. God bless you all. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed this. Give me feedback. If you want to learn more or go deeper, definitely reach out. God bless you, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to, okay, hope it's okay, some of the clip, for me to put it out there. Is it okay? I know some of it I put, right? I'm very particular. I'm very particular, okay? Whew. And then any other feedback, your comments, when they come in, I'm like smiling and like, so anybody can definitely put those comments or message me as well. Thank you, Coach. Miss Chisholm, I hope you need the replay because you came in over an hour in. So I know you're busy, but definitely I think the replay was fantastic. I have my notes, but I think I also go over it because I really do feel there's a lot more to unpack on this topic. I feel like there's so many things I wanted to say. I feel like this was an introduction. That's how I feel, because I'm feeling within me, I'm like, did I really explain it the way I wanted to? Do people really understand what I'm trying to say? That's how I'm processing this.
Like you said, it was a great introduction, but of course we want more. But
awesome.
It was.
I want more too.
Yeah.
I want more. Yeah. Give me my money. Have you seen those? Give me my money. Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye.